Let us begin by understanding what the law of assumption truly is. Many of you may think of it as some mystical force, separate from your daily life. But I tell you now, the law of assumption is not separate from you, it is you. It is the very essence of your being, the creative power that shapes your entire reality. Imagine, if you will, that your current reality is like a garment you wear. It may feel comfortable, familiar, even inevitable. But I assure you it is no more permanent or real than the clothes on your back. You can change it just as easily as you change your attire. The secret lies in your assumption. Now you might be wondering, Neville, how can I ignore reality? Isn't that just denial? And therein lies the crux of our discussion today. You see, what you call reality is not fixed or absolute. It is a reflection, a shadow cast by your assumptions. When you change your assumptions, you change the very fabric of your reality. This is where the concept of ignoring reality comes into play. But let me be clear, we are not talking about burying your head in the sand or denying the existence of your current circumstances. Rather, we are talking about shifting your attention, your belief, your assumption to that which you desire to be true. Let us delve deeper into this concept. Your world, your experience of life is not happening to you, it is happening from you. Every circumstance, every event, every interaction in your life is a reflection of your inner assumptions. These assumptions are like seeds planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. And just as a seed grows into a plant, your assumptions grow into your experienced reality. This is why many people find themselves stuck in patterns of lack, of struggle, of not enoughness. They have unknowingly been planting these seeds in their subconscious mind through years of repetitive thoughts and feelings of limitation. But here's the liberating truth. You have the power to choose what seeds you plant. You have the ability to consciously assume the state of being super rich, regardless of your current bank balance. This, my friends, is the key to ignoring reality and becoming super rich through the law of assumption. So how do we begin this process of assuming a new state of wealth and abundance? The first step is to clearly define what being super rich means to you. Be specific. Don't simply say, I want a lot of money. Instead, imagine in vivid detail what your life looks like as a super rich person. How do you feel? What are you doing? How do you spend your time? The more specific and detailed your vision, the more clearly you communicate with your subconscious mind. Once you have this clear vision, the next step is to assume the feeling of being super rich. This is crucial. You must feel the reality of being wealthy now, not in some distant future. Remember, your subconscious mind doesn't understand time. It only understands the present moment. So if you constantly feel that wealth is something in the future, it will always remain in the future. Instead, assume the feeling of wealth now. How would you feel if you were already super rich? Would you feel secure, confident, generous, free? Embody these feelings. Live from this state of being. This is not pretending or lying to yourself. This is assuming a new state of consciousness, which is the very essence of the law of assumption. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, how can I feel wealthy when my bank account is empty? This is where the art of ignoring reality comes into play. You must learn to give more attention, more importance, more reality to your desired state than to your current circumstances. This doesn't mean you deny the existence of your current bank balance. Rather, you acknowledge it briefly, then immediately return your attention to the feeling of wealth. You say to yourself, yes, this is my current situation, but it is not my permanent reality. I am now embodying the state of a wealthy person. I am now feeling the feelings of abundance and financial freedom. This process of assuming a new state while ignoring the contradictory evidence of your senses is not always easy. It requires practice, persistence, and most importantly, faith. But remember, the reality you see around you is nothing more than the outpicturing of past assumptions. As you persist in your new assumption of wealth, your outer world must reshape itself to match this new inner conviction. Let us now explore the practical application of this principle. How do you maintain the assumption of wealth in your daily life? It begins with your thoughts and your inner conversations. Pay attention to how you think and talk about money. Do you constantly worry about bills? Do you feel anxiety when you think about your finances? These thoughts and feelings are assumptions of lack, and they would perpetuate a reality of financial struggle. Instead, consciously choose thoughts and inner conversations that align with your assumption of wealth. When a bill arrives, instead of feeling stress, feel gratitude for the ability to pay it easily. When you make a purchase, instead of worrying about the cost, feel the joy of being able to afford what you desire. These may seem like small shifts, but they are powerful assumptions that will begin to reshape your financial reality. Your words, too, are crucial in this process. The words you speak are like seeds planted in the fertile soil of the universe. Be mindful of the language you use around money. Eliminate phrases like "I can't afford it" or "money doesn't grow on trees." Instead, use empowering statements like "I always have more than enough" or "money comes to me easily and frequently." Remember, these are not mere affirmations or positive thinking techniques. They are assumption states of being that you are choosing to embody. Speak them with conviction, feeling the truth of them in your very being. Now let us address a crucial aspect of becoming super rich through the law of assumption, your self-concept. Your self-concept is the sum total of all your beliefs about who you are. And this self-concept is perhaps the most powerful assumption you hold. Many people struggle to manifest wealth because their self-concept contradicts the state of being wealthy. They may visualize having money, but deep down, they don't believe they are the kind of person who can be rich. They may have limiting beliefs like rich people are greedy, or money is the root of all evil, or I'm not smart enough to be wealthy. To truly embody the state of being super rich, you must be willing to revise your self-concept. You must be willing to see yourself as someone who is naturally wealthy, who easily attracts abundance, who deserves financial success. This is not about creating a false image of yourself, but about recognizing and embracing your true, limitless nature. You see, at your core, you are pure consciousness. You are not defined by your past experiences, your current bank balance, or the opinions of others about wealth. You are the awareness in which all these things appear. And this awareness, your true self, is infinite in its potential, including its potential for wealth. When you truly grasp this truth, when you begin to identify with your essential nature, rather than your temporary financial circumstances, you open yourself to limitless abundance. Your subconscious mind, no longer constrained by limiting beliefs about wealth, becomes free to manifest the financial reality you choose to assume. So how do you revise your self-concept to align with being super rich? The process is similar to assuming any new state of being. You must vividly imagine yourself as a wealthy person. Feel what it's like to be that person. How do they think about money? How do they make financial decisions? How do they carry themselves? But remember, this is not about creating a caricature of a rich person based on societal stereotypes. It's about recognizing and embracing your own unique expression of wealth. You are not becoming someone else. You are becoming more fully yourself, a self that is naturally abundant and financially free. As you persistently imagine and feel yourself as this wealthy version of you, your subconscious mind will begin to accept this as your new reality. And as your subconscious accepts it, you will naturally begin to think, feel, and act in alignment with this new wealthy self-concept. Now let us address another powerful tool in assuming the state of being super rich, the use of I am statements. The words I am are incredibly potent. They are in essence your definition of yourself. Whatever follows I am is impressed upon your subconscious mind as a truth about your identity. Many people unconsciously use I am statements in ways that perpetuate financial lack. I am broke. I am bad with money. I am always in debt. Each time you make such a statement, you are programming your subconscious mind to create more of that experience. To assume the state of being super rich, you must become acutely aware of your I am statements and consciously choose ones that align with wealth and abundance. I am wealthy. I am a money magnet. I am financially free. I am abundantly provided for in all ways. But remember, it's not just about the words. You must feel the truth of these statements as you say them. Your subconscious mind responds to feeling, not just to words. So when you say, I am wealthy, feel the security, the freedom, the joy of being wealthy. When you say, I am a money magnet, feel the excitement of money constantly flowing into your life. As you consistently use I am statements in this way, you are literally reprogramming your subconscious mind. You are impressing upon it a new concept of who you are in relation to wealth, and your subconscious mind will work tirelessly to make this new self-concept your reality. Now let us explore another powerful technique for assuming the state of being super rich, the practice of living in the end. This involves mentally dwelling in the state of your wish fulfilled, living as if you are already super rich. To practice living in the end, you must create a mental scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire for wealth. This scene should be one that would naturally occur if you were already super rich. Perhaps it's the feeling of making a large donation to a cause you care about, or the joy of buying your dream home without concern for the cost, or the satisfaction of seeing a large balance in your bank account. Create this scene in your imagination with as much detail as possible. See it clearly. Hear the sounds associated with it. Feel the emotions you would feel. Then enter into this scene in your imagination. Don't just watch it as a spectator, but experience it from the first-person perspective. Be there in that moment, feeling the reality of being super rich. Now here's the crucial part. You must return to this scene repeatedly. Dwell in it. Make it more real to you than your current financial circumstances. The more you live in this imaginal scene, the more real it becomes to your subconscious mind. And remember, your subconscious doesn't distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you physically experience. As you persist in living in the end, you may notice changes in your outer world. Opportunities for financial growth may appear. Your relationship with money may begin to shift. You may find yourself making different financial decisions. These are all signs that your new assumption is taking root, reshaping your reality to match your inner conviction of wealth. But here's a word of caution. Do not look for signs. Do not try to figure out how your assumption of wealth will manifest. Your job is simply to assume the state of being wealthy, to live from that state in your imagination. The how, the when, the where of its manifestation is not your concern. That belongs to the infinite intelligence of the universe. Now let us address a crucial aspect of assuming the state of being super rich, the role of action. Some people mistakenly believe that the law of assumption means they can simply imagine being wealthy and then sit back and wait for money to magically appear. This is not the case. The law of assumption does not negate action, it informs action. When you truly assume the state of being wealthy, you will naturally be inspired to take actions that align with that state. You may feel compelled to start a business, to invest in certain opportunities, to learn about wealth management. These inspired actions flow naturally from your assumed state. The key difference is that these actions are not driven by fear, lack, or the need to make money. They are expressions of your assumed state of wealth. You take these actions not to become rich, but because you are operating from the assumption that you are already rich. This is a subtle but crucial distinction when you take action from a place of lack. Trying to get money, you are actually affirming the assumption of not having enough. But when you take action from the assumption of already being wealthy, you open yourself to infinite possibilities for the expression and expansion of that wealth. So do not neglect action, but ensure that your actions are aligned with and flowing from your assumed state of wealth. Let your assumption guide your actions rather than hoping your actions will create the assumption. Now let us discuss the importance of gratitude in assuming the state of being super rich. Gratitude is not just a pleasant emotion, it is a powerful creative force. When you feel grateful, you are affirming that you already have what you desire. This aligns perfectly with the law of assumption. Begin to cultivate an attitude of gratitude for wealth and abundance, even before you see it manifested in your physical reality. Be thankful for the money you currently have, no matter how little it may seem. Be grateful for every opportunity to receive or spend money. Feel appreciation for the abundance that surrounds you in all forms, the air you breathe, the sun that shines, the food you eat. As you practice gratitude, you are assuming the state of someone who has plenty, someone who is abundantly provided for. This assumption, persistently held, must manifest in your outer world as increased financial abundance. Remember, the feeling of gratitude and the feeling of lack cannot coexist. By cultivating gratitude, you are effectively ignoring the abundance of financial and assuming the state of wealth and abundance. Now let us address a common challenge in assuming the state of being super rich, dealing with contradictory evidence. As you begin to assume the state of wealth, you may find that your current financial circumstances seem to contradict your assumption. Bills may still need to be paid. Financial pressures may still exist. How do you maintain your assumption in the face of these seeming contradictions? This is where the art of ignoring reality comes into play. Remember, what you see in your outer world is the result of past assumptions. It's like an echo of what you once believed. Your task now is to give more attention, more importance, more reality to your new assumption of wealth than to these outdated circumstances. When contradictory evidence appears, acknowledge it briefly, then immediately return your attention to your assumption of wealth. Say to yourself, this is old condition passing away. It has no power over my new assumption. I am now super rich, abundantly provided for in all ways. This practice requires mental discipline. It requires you to stand firm in your new assumption, even when your senses argue against it. But remember, your senses only show you what has been, not what can be. Your imagination, informed by your assumption, shows you what will be. As you persist in your assumption of wealth, even in the face of contradictory evidence, you'll begin to see changes in your outer world. These changes may start small, an unexpected refund, a good deal on something you need, a new opportunity to increase your income. Do not dismiss these as coincidences. They are the first fruits of your new assumption taking root. Now let us explore the concept of detachment in relation to becoming super rich through the law of assumption. Detachment does not mean you don't care about becoming wealthy. Rather, it means you are not anxiously attached to the outcome or the process of becoming wealthy. When you are detached, you are secure in your assumption of wealth. You don't need constant outer confirmation because you know the truth of your assumption. You don't anxiously look for signs or try to force manifestations because you trust in the perfect unfolding of your assumption. Detachment allows you to enjoy the journey of wealth creation without stress or worry. It enables you to take inspired action without being desperate for results. It frees you from the fear of loss because you know that your true wealth comes from your consciousness, not from external circumstances. Practice detachment by reminding yourself that your assumption of wealth is the reality, regardless of what your current bank balance might show. Trust that as you maintain your assumption, your outer world must conform to it. Be at peace, knowing that your financial abundance is assured by the power of your assumption. Now let us address the role of persistence in assuming the state of being super rich. Assuming a new state, especially one that seems far from your current experience, requires persistent effort. You must be willing to persist in your new assumption, even when the outer world seems unchanged, even when doubts arise, even when others question your sanity. Remember, the reality you see around you is the fruit of seeds planted in the past. As you assume the state of being super rich, you are planting new seeds. These seeds need time to grow. Your persistence in maintaining your assumption is what waters these seeds and allows them to flourish. Do not be discouraged if you don't see immediate results. Do not waver in your assumption if your financial situation doesn't change overnight. Persistence is key. Return again and again to your assumption of wealth. Live from that state consistently, persistently, faithfully. It's also important to persist through the doubts and fears that may arise. As you assume a state of wealth that is vastly different from your current experience, your old beliefs and fears may surface. This is natural. Acknowledge these doubts when they arise, but do not give them power. Instead, gently but firmly return to your assumption of wealth. Now, let us discuss the importance of feeling in assuming the state of being super rich. Feeling is the secret of creation. It's not enough to intellectually know that you are assuming a state of wealth. You must feel it. You must experience the emotion of being wealthy. What does wealth feel like to you? Is it a feeling of security, of freedom, of power to help others, of peace of mind? Whatever it is, you must capture that feeling and live in it. Make it your constant companion. Let it inform your thoughts, your words, your actions. Remember, your subconscious mind doesn't understand words as much as it understands feelings. When you consistently feel wealthy, you are sending a powerful message to your subconscious that this is your reality. And your subconscious, being the faithful servant it is, will work tirelessly to bring about circumstances that match this feeling. As you go through your day, constantly check in with your feelings. Are you feeling wealthy? If not, pause and recall the feeling of wealth. Immerse yourself in it. Let it permeate your being. This constant return to the feeling of wealth is crucial in maintaining your assumption. Now let us address a common pitfall in the journey of assuming wealth: the temptation to compare yourself with others. In today's world, with social media constantly showcasing the wealth and success of others, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparison. But remember, comparison is the thief of joy, and more importantly, it can undermine your assumption of wealth. When you compare yourself to others, you are implicitly assuming a state of lack. You are focusing on what you don't have rather than on the abundance you are assuming. This sends a conflicting message to your subconscious mind and can slow down or even reverse your progress. Instead of comparing yourself to others, focus on your own journey. Celebrate your own progress, no matter how small it may seem. Remember, you are not in competition with anyone else. Your journey to wealth is unique to you. Trust in your own assumption and in the perfect unfolding of your desires. As we near the conclusion of our discussion, let us talk about the ultimate purpose of assuming the state of being super rich. While financial abundance is certainly enjoyable and can provide many opportunities, the true power of this practice lies in the freedom it provides. Freedom to be more fully yourself, to express your gifts, to contribute to the world in meaningful ways. As you assume the state of being super rich, you may find that your definition of wealth expands. You may discover that true wealth encompasses not just financial abundance, but also richness in relationships, in experiences, in personal growth, in the ability to make a positive impact on the world. Embrace this expanded definition of wealth. Let your assumption of being super rich infuse all areas of your life with abundance. Assume a state of richness in love, in health, in wisdom, in joy. For in doing so, you are assuming the state of your highest, most abundant self. In closing, my dear friends, remember this: you are not bound by your current financial reality. You are not limited by your past experiences with money. You are a divine, infinite being capable of assuming any state you choose. The state of being super rich is available to you right now, in this very moment. Choose it. Assume it. Live from it. Ignore the contradictory evidence of your senses and persist in your assumption. For as you do, you are reshaping your entire world. You are stepping into the full power of your divine creativity. Go forth from here with this knowledge. Apply these principles in your daily life. Be aware of your thoughts, your feelings, your assumptions about wealth. Use your imagination consciously and deliberately to live in the end of being super rich. Persist in your assumption, even when the outer world seems to contradict it. And above all, have faith. Faith in the law, faith in the process, faith in your own divine nature as a creative being. For as you master the art of assumption, as you learn to ignore the limiting aspects of your current reality, you step into your true power as the author of your life story. Remember, the power to change your financial reality lies within you. It always has. You are not bound by economic conditions, by your background, or by your current bank balance. You are bound only by the limits of your imagination and your willingness to assume the state of being super rich. Embrace this truth. Live from this understanding. And watch as your world transforms around you, reflecting the newfound abundance you have assumed into being. Thank you, and may your journey of conscious creation be filled with infinite abundance, joy, and the thrill of manifesting your wealthiest, most expansive self.
Imagine yourself seated in a grand auditorium, the air thick with anticipation. The lights dim, and a spotlight illuminates the stage. I, Neville Goddard, step forward to address you on a matter of utmost importance. The willingness to give up your present limitations. As I gaze upon your eager faces, I see the infinite potential that resides within each of you. Yet I also perceive the invisible chains of limitation that bind you to your current circumstances. These chains, my dear listeners, are not forged by any external force, but by the very thoughts and beliefs you hold within your minds. Tonight, we shall embark on a journey of transformation. We will explore the vast landscape of your imagination and unlock the power that lies dormant within you. For it is only when you are willing to give up your present limitations that you can truly step into the life you desire and deserve. Let us begin by understanding the nature of your limitations. These are not physical barriers or insurmountable obstacles. No, they are merely thoughts, ideas that you have accepted as truth. But I say to you, with unwavering certainty, that these limitations are as flimsy as a house of cards, ready to collapse at the slightest breath of your newfound awareness. Consider for a moment the things you believe to be impossible in your life. Perhaps you think you cannot achieve great wealth, or find true love, or attain perfect health. These beliefs, my friends, are the very limitations that keep you tethered to a life that is less than what you are capable of living. But I ask you, who decided these things were impossible? Who declared that you must live within these confines? The answer, though it may be difficult to accept, is you. You have accepted these limitations as your reality, and in doing so, you have given them power over your life. Now, I can hear the protests rising within you. But Neville, you might say, these limitations are based on my past experiences, on the hard facts of my life. To this, I respond with a truth that may shake the very foundations of your understanding. Your past does not determine your future unless you allow it to do so. You see, my dear listeners, time is not a linear progression from past to future. It is a vast sea of possibilities, and you are the navigator of your ship. At any moment, you have the power to change course, to set sail for new horizons that you previously believed were beyond your reach. This power lies in your imagination, the most magnificent gift bestowed upon humanity. Your imagination is the workshop wherein you can fashion any reality you desire. It is the canvas upon which you can paint the masterpiece of your life. And it is through the conscious use of your imagination that you can begin to dissolve the limitations that have held you captive. Let me share with you a fundamental principle that underpins all of creance. Consciousness is the only reality. Everything you perceive in your outer world is but a reflection of your inner states of consciousness. The circumstances of your life, the successes and failures you experience, are all projections of your beliefs and assumptions. Therefore, to change your life, you must be willing to change your consciousness. You must be prepared to give up the limiting beliefs that have shaped your current reality. This, my friends, is where true courage is required, for it is far easier to cling to the familiar, even if it is unsatisfactory, than to venture into the unknown realms of possibility. But I implore you, summon the courage to challenge your limitations. Dare to imagine a life beyond the boundaries you have accepted. For in that daring lies the seed of your transformation. Consider the great figures of history who achieved the seemingly impossible. The Wright brothers, who dared to believe man could fly. Edison, who illuminated the world with his persistence. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who dreamed of equality in the face of overwhelming opposition. These individuals did not accept the limitations of their time. They dared to imagine a different reality. And through the power of their imagination, they brought that reality into being. You, my dear listeners, possess the same power. The only difference between you and these great figures is that they refused to accept the limitations imposed upon them by society or their own doubts. They were willing to give up their present limitations, and in doing so, they changed the course of history. Now, you might be wondering, how do I begin this process of giving up my limitations? The answer lies in a practice I have long advocated, the art of revision. This powerful technique allows you to rewrite your past and consequently reshape your future. Imagine for a moment that your life is a play, and you are both the lead actor and the playwright. The scenes you have lived up to this point have been scripted by your past beliefs and assumptions. But now, armed with the knowledge of your true creative power, you can rewrite these scenes. Each night, as you lay your head upon your pillow, take a few moments to review the events of your day. But do not simply replay them as they occurred. Instead, revise them. See them unfolding in a way that aligns with your desires. If you encountered failure, reimagine it as success. If you experienced lack, visualize abundance. If you felt fear, replace it with courage. This practice of revision is not mere fantasy or escapism. It is a powerful tool for reprogramming your subconscious mind. For your subconscious does not distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience in the physical world. By consistently revising your day, you are laying down new tracks in your subconscious, creating new patterns of thought and belief. As you persist in this practice, you will find that your outer world begins to conform to your revised inner world. The limitations you once accepted as immutable facts will begin to dissolve, replaced by new possibilities and opportunities. But revision is just the beginning. To truly give up your present limitations, you must be willing to live from the end. This means assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even when your senses deny its reality. Suppose you desire financial abundance, but your current circumstances show only lack and struggle. The conventional approach would be to work harder, to strive and strain against your circumstances. But I say to you, this approach only reinforces your limitations. Instead, I urge you to assume the feeling of wealth and abundance now. How would you feel if you were already in possession of the financial security you desire? What thoughts would occupy your mind? How would you carry yourself? What decisions would you make? Live from this state of consciousness. Feel the relief, the joy, the sense of freedom that comes with financial abundance. Do this not once or twice, but consistently, persistently, until it becomes your dominant state of being. You see, my friends, the outer world must conform to your inner assumptions. This is law. Therefore, by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are setting in motion the forces that will bring your desire into physical manifestation. Now, I can hear the skeptics among you raising objections. But Neville, you might say, how can I feel wealthy when my bank account is empty? How can I feel healthy when my body is racked with pain? How can I feel loved when I'm alone? Your senses show you only the effects, never the cause. What you see in your outer world is the result of past thoughts and beliefs. But the power to change lies in the present moment, in your ability to choose a new state of consciousness regardless of external circumstances. This requires faith. Not blind faith in an external power, but faith in the creative power of your own imagination. It requires the courage to deny the evidence of your senses and to live as though your desire were already a fact. Remember, the Bible tells us faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Your faith, your unwavering belief in the reality of your imagined state, is the very substance that will clothe your desire in physical form. Let me share with you a personal experience that illustrates this principle. Many years ago, I found myself in New York City, penniless and without prospects. The limitations of my circumstances seemed overwhelming, but I refused to accept them as final. Instead, I began to imagine myself as a successful lecturer, sharing these very principles with eager audiences. I felt the satisfaction of standing on stage, hearing the applause, sensing the impact of my words. I lived in this imaginal state consistently, denying the evidence of my senses that told me I was a failure. And do you know what happened? Within a short time, opportunities began to present themselves. I was invited to give lectures, first to small groups, then to larger audiences. My reputation grew, and soon I found myself traveling the country, sharing these truths with thousands. This transformation did not occur because I struggled against my circumstances or because I was particularly gifted. It happened because I was willing to give up my present limitations. I dared to imagine a different reality and to live from that imagination. You, my dear listeners, can do the same. Whatever limitations you currently face, be they financial, physical, emotional, or spiritual, you have the power to transcend them. But you must be willing to give them up. You must be courageous enough to imagine and feel a new reality, even when every outer circumstance seems to contradict it. Now, let us delve deeper into the mechanics of this transformative process. To give up your present limitations, you must first become aware of them. This awareness is not about dwelling on your problems or reinforcing your current state. Rather, it's about recognizing the thoughts and beliefs that have created your present circumstances. Take a moment now to reflect on the areas of your life where you feel limited. Perhaps you believe you're not intelligent enough to pursue higher education. Maybe you think you're too old to start a new career. Or perhaps you've convinced yourself that you're not attractive enough to find a loving partner. These beliefs, my friends, are not facts. They are assumptions you have accepted as truth. But just as you have accepted them, you have the power to reject them and replace them with new, empowering beliefs. The process begins with a simple yet profound shift in your thinking. Instead of saying, I can't, start saying, I am. Instead of focusing on what you lack, direct your attention to what you desire to be, do, or have. For instance, if you've been telling yourself, I can't afford that, replace it with, I'm abundantly prosperous. If you've been thinking, I'm not smart enough, change it to, I'm intelligent and capable. If you've believed, I'm too old, affirm instead, I am the perfect age to begin anew. These new statements may feel false at first. Your rational mind, conditioned by years of limiting beliefs, may rebel against them. But remember, you are not trying to convince your rational mind. You are speaking directly to your subconscious, which accepts as true whatever you impress upon it with feeling and persistence. This is where the power of your imagination comes into play. As you make these new statements, create vivid mental images that support them. See yourself living the life these statements imply. Feel the emotions associated with this new state of being. If you're affirming abundance, see yourself easily paying your bills, generously donating to causes you care about, enjoying luxurious vacations. Feel the relief, the joy, the sense of security that comes with financial freedom. If you're claiming intelligence and capability, imagine yourself confidently tackling challenging tasks, receiving accolades for your work, sharing your knowledge with others. Feel the satisfaction, the pride, the excitement of fully expressing your intellectual potential. If you're asserting that you're the perfect age for new beginnings, visualize yourself embarking on exciting new ventures, learning new skills with ease, inspiring others with your enthusiasm and vitality. Feel the energy, the optimism, the sense of unlimited possibility that comes with this mindset. The key here is to make these mental images as vivid and as emotionally charged as possible. Your subconscious mind responds to the language of feeling and imagery. The more real you can make these imaginal scenes, the more quickly they will be accepted by your subconscious and reflected in your outer world. I must caution you, this process requires persistence. You cannot expect to overturn years of limiting beliefs with a single affirmation or visualization. Just as a farmer must tend his crops daily, you must nurture your new beliefs consistently. Make it a daily practice to affirm your new state of being. Spend time each day in quiet contemplation, immersing yourself in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Do this upon waking and before sleeping, when your subconscious mind is most receptive. As you persist in this practice, you will begin to notice subtle shifts in your outer world. Opportunities that align with your new state of consciousness will start to appear. You'll find yourself making decisions and taking actions that support your desired reality. When faced with these new opportunities, they retreat into their old patterns of thought and behavior. They allow their present limitations to resurface, sabotaging their progress. This is why I emphasize the need to be willing to give up your present limitations. It's not enough to imagine a new reality. You must be prepared to step into it when it begins to manifest. If you've been affirming financial abundance and suddenly an opportunity for increased income presents itself, you must be willing to embrace it, even if it challenges your comfort zone. If you've been claiming intelligence and capability and find yourself offered a chance to demonstrate these qualities, you must be ready to rise to the occasion, even if it feels daunting. Remember, your outer world is always reflecting your inner state. If you maintain your new state of consciousness, your outer world must conform to it. This is law. But if you allow yourself to be pulled back into old patterns of thought and behavior, you will perpetuate your present limitations. This is where faith becomes crucial. Not blind faith, but faith born of understanding. Understanding that your imagination creates reality, that your assumptions shape your world, that consciousness is the only reality. When doubt creeps in, as it inevitably will, remind yourself of this truth. Recall times in your life when your imagination has created your reality, even if in small ways. Perhaps you strongly imagined receiving a call from a friend and they called. Maybe you visualized finding the perfect parking spot in a crowded lot, and there it was. These seemingly small manifestations operate on the same principle as the greater changes you now seek to create. Moreover, look to the great achievements of humanity for inspiration. Every invention, every scientific breakthrough, every social change began as an idea, an imaginal act that defied the limitations of its time. The airplane, the telephone, the computer, all of these were once deemed impossible. Yet individuals dared to imagine them, to assume their reality, and in doing so brought them into being. You, my dear listeners, are no different from these visionaries. You possess the same creative power. The only difference lies in your willingness to use it, to dare to imagine beyond your present limitations. Now, let us address a common obstacle that many face on this journey of transformation: the opinions and influences of others. As you begin to give up your present limitations, you may encounter resistance from those around you. Friends, family, colleagues may attempt to pull you back into your old patterns of thought and behavior. This is natural. People become accustomed to seeing you in a certain way, and your transformation may challenge their own limiting beliefs. But remember that opinions are based on your past expression, not on your infinite potential. You must be willing to stand firm in your new consciousness, even in the face of opposition or disbelief from others. This doesn't mean you need to argue or try to convince anyone of your new reality. In fact, it's often best to keep your inner work private, at least in the beginning stages. Instead, maintain your new state internally, regardless of external circumstances or opinions. Continue to live from the end, feeling and acting as though your desire is already fulfilled. As you do this, you will find that the outer world, including the people in it, will gradually adjust to your new vibration. Remember the words attributed to Mahatma Gandhi. Be the change you wish to see in the world. As you change your inner world, your outer world must follow suit. Now, let's explore another vital aspect of giving up your present limitations. The release of attachment to specific outcomes. This may seem counterintuitive at first. After all, aren't we focusing on manifesting specific desires? The key here is to understand the difference between the essence of your desire and its particular form. When you tap into the essence of what you truly want, be it love, abundance, health, or success, you open yourself to infinite possibilities for its manifestation. For instance, if you desire financial abundance, don't become fixated on winning the lottery or receiving a specific sum of money from a particular source. Instead, focus on the feeling of abundance, the sense of security and freedom that comes with financial well-being. By doing so, you allow the universe to bring your desire to you in ways that may far exceed your limited imagination. Similarly, if you desire a loving relationship, don't become attached to a specific person or a particular scenario. Focus instead on the feeling of being loved, cherished, and in a fulfilling partnership. This opens the door for love to enter your life in perhaps unexpected but perfectly aligned ways. This release of attachment also helps to dissolve the anxiety and desperation that often accompany strong desires. When you trust in the perfect unfolding of your imagination, when you know that what you have assumed as true must manifest, you can relax into the present moment, enjoying the journey of transformation. As you practice living from the end, assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you may notice an interesting phenomenon. Your desires themselves begin to evolve. As you give up your present limitations, you may find that what once seemed like an ultimate goal now appears as just a stepping stone to even greater possibilities. This is the nature of spiritual and personal growth. As you expand your consciousness, as you release the shackles of limitation, you open yourself to ever greater expressions of your infinite potential. Therefore, be willing to let your desires evolve. Don't cling to old goals out of habit or fear. As you give up your present limitations, allow yourself to dream bigger, to imagine grander possibilities for your life and for the world. Now, my dear friends, as we approach the final stretch of our discourse, I want to address a question that may be arising in your minds. What if I fail? What if I try to give up my limitations and nothing changes? Failure is impossible if you truly understand and apply these principles. What may appear as failure is often just a temporary misalignment between your inner and outer worlds. It's a signal to examine your consciousness more closely, to root out any lingering doubts or contradictory beliefs. If you find that your outer world is not changing as rapidly as you'd like, don't despair. Instead, use this as an opportunity to deepen your practice. Ask yourself, am I truly living from the end? Am I maintaining the feeling of my wish fulfilled consistently? Am I allowing contradictory thoughts and feelings to persist? Often what seems like failure is simply a call to greater faithfulness to your imaginal act. It's an invitation to strengthen your resolve, to deepen your understanding, to persist in the face of apparent opposition. Remember, the outer world may take time to reflect your inner changes. Just as a ship doesn't turn on a dime, your life circumstances may not transform overnight. But if you maintain your new state of consciousness, if you persist in living from the end, your outer world must eventually conform to your inner reality. Moreover, what appears as a setback or failure often contains within it the seeds of an even greater manifestation. Many of history's great successes came on the heels of apparent failures. The key is to maintain your faith, to hold fast to your new state of consciousness, regardless of outer appearances. As we near the conclusion of our time together, I want to leave you with a powerful exercise to help you give up your present limitations. This exercise, which I call the ladder of ascension, will help you systematically release your limiting beliefs and ascend to higher states of consciousness. Imagine before you a grand, golden ladder reaching up into the heavens. Each rung of this ladder represents a state of consciousness, a level of being. The lower rungs represent states of limitation, lack, and fear. The higher rungs represent states of abundance, love, and unlimited possibility. Now see yourself standing on the rung that represents your current state of consciousness. Look up the ladder and choose a higher state that you wish to embody. This could be a state of financial abundance, radiant health, loving relationships, or any other desired state of being. Close your eyes and imagine yourself climbing the ladder, moving towards this higher state. As you ascend, feel yourself shedding your limitations. With each step, feel yourself becoming lighter, freer, more aligned with your true unlimited nature. When you reach the rung that represents your desired state, pause there. Look around you from this new vantage point. How does the world appear from here? How do you feel in this new state of being? Allow yourself to fully experience the reality of this higher consciousness. Now open your eyes, but maintain the feeling of this elevated state. As you go about your day, continually remind yourself that you are operating from this higher level of consciousness. Make decisions, interact with others, and perceive the world from this new state of being. Practice this exercise daily, always choosing a higher rung, always expanding your consciousness. As you do, you will find your present limitations falling away, replaced by an ever-expanding sense of possibility and power. My dear friends, as we come to the close of our discussion, I want to impress upon you one final truth. The journey of giving up your present limitations is not just about personal gain or individual success. It is about stepping into your true identity as a creative force in the universe. As you release your limitations, as you expand your consciousness, you become a beacon of light in the world. Your transformation inspires and uplifts those around you. Your expanded consciousness contributes to the elevation of all consciousness. Remember, we are all one. Your liberation from limitation serves not just you, but all of humanity. As you give up your present limitations, you help to dissolve the collective limitations that bind our world. Therefore, I urge us, be bold in your imagining. Be courageous in your assumption of new states of being. Be persistent in your faithfulness to your imaginal acts. For in doing so, you are not just changing your own life. You are participating in the transformation of the world. Go forth from this place with a new resolve. Know that you are not bound by any limitation unless you choose to accept it. Know that within you lies the power to create any reality you can imagine. Know that you are, in truth, unlimited being, temporarily expressing itself in human form. Dare to give up your present limitations. Dare to imagine a life beyond what you have previously thought possible. Dare to assume the feeling of your wishes fulfilled. As you do, you will find that the entire universe conspires to bring your imagined reality into being. Remember, consciousness is the only reality. You are that consciousness. You are the creator of your world. Embrace this truth, live from it, and watch as your life transforms in ways more wonderful than you could have ever imagined. Thank you, my dear friends, for your attention and your willingness to embark on this journey of transformation. May you go forth and create lives of unparalleled joy, abundance, and fulfillment. The power is yours. Use it wisely. Use it lovingly, and use it now. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know that the power to transform your mind and consequently your life lies within you. It has always been there, waiting to be awakened and harnessed. Let us begin by understanding what it means to be mentally strong. It is not merely the absence of weakness or the ability to endure hardship. No, mental strength is far more profound. It is the capacity to shape your reality through the power of your imagination and belief. It is the unwavering faith in the law that states, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is it. You see, my dear friends, The world you experience is nothing more than an outward projection of your inner state. Your thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions create the fabric of your reality. Therefore, to become mentally strong is to gain mastery over your inner world, to cultivate a mind that is aligned with your deepest desires and highest aspirations. Now you might be wondering, how do I achieve this mental strength? The answer, I assure you, is simpler than you might think. Yet it requires dedication and practice. The first step is to recognize the immense power of your imagination. Your imagination is not some frivolous faculty meant for idle daydreaming. It is the very workshop where you forge your destiny. Neville Goddard once said, man's imagination is God's redemptive power in man. This statement encapsulates a profound truth that your imagination is the key to transforming your life. When you learn to use your imagination deliberately and consistently, you tap into a power that can move mountains, part seas, and reshape your entire existence. But how does one use imagination effectively? The secret lies in what I call living in the end. This means that you must imagine and feel the reality of your desire as if it were already accomplished. You must step into the state of the wish fulfilled, embodying the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs of the person who has already achieved what you desire. Let me give you an example. Suppose you wish to become more confident and assertive. Instead of focusing on your current state of timidity or self-doubt, you would imagine yourself as the confident and assertive person you wish to be. You would feel the satisfaction, the peace, and the certainty that comes with being that person. You would walk, talk, and carry yourself as if you were already the embodiment of confidence and assertiveness. This practice of living in the end is not mere positive thinking or affirmation. It is a profound psychological and spiritual exercise that aligns your entire being with your desired state. As you persist in this practice, you will find that your outer world begins to conform to your inner vision. This is the law of assumption at work. What you assume to be true becomes true in your experience. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, how can I imagine something that seems so far from my current reality? This is where mental strength truly comes into play. It requires discipline and persistence to hold on to your vision in the face of contrary evidence. It demands that you trust in the unseen reality of your imagination more than the apparent facts of your physical senses. Remember, my friends, that what you see in the world around you is nothing more than the outpicturing of past thoughts and beliefs. It is the harvest of seeds planted in the past. But at this very moment, you have the power to plant new seeds, to imagine a new reality to being. This is the essence of mental strength. The ability to hold steadfast to your vision, regardless of present circumstances. Let us delve deeper into this concept. The world you see is Maya, illusion. It is a shadow play, a reflection of your consciousness. When you truly grasp this truth, you will understand that to change your world, you need only change your consciousness. This is where the practice of revision becomes invaluable. Revision is the art of reimagining past events in a way that aligns with your desires. If you have experienced failure or disappointment, instead of dwelling on these experiences and reinforcing them in your consciousness, you can revise them. Imagine how you would have preferred the situation to unfold. Feel the joy and satisfaction of this revised scenario as if it had actually happened. This practice of revision is not about denying reality or living in fantasy. It is about understanding the fluid nature of time and memory and using this understanding to your advantage. By revising the past in your imagination, you alter the trajectory of your future. You plant new seeds in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind, seeds that will inevitably sprout and bear fruit in your experience. As you engage in these practices, living in the end and revision, you will begin to notice a shift in your mental state. You will find yourself becoming more resilient, more optimistic, more certain of your power to shape your reality. This is mental strength in action. It is the ability to maintain a positive and purposeful state of mind, regardless of external circumstances. But let me be clear, my dear friends. Mental strength is not about forcing things to happen through sheer willpower. It is not about struggling against the current of life. Rather, it is about aligning yourself with the natural flow of creation. It is about understanding and applying the laws that govern the universe. One of these fundamental laws is the law of assumption. This law states that whatever you assume to be true will be manifested in your reality. Your assumptions, whether conscious or unconscious, shape your world. Therefore, to become mentally strong, you must become aware of your assumptions and learn to consciously choose those that serve your highest good. For instance, if you assume that life is a struggle and that success is hard to come by, you will experience a reality that confirms these assumptions. On the other hand, if you assume that life is abundant and that success comes easily to you, your experience will reflect these beliefs. The key is to become aware of your assumptions and to deliberately choose those that align with your desires. This process of becoming aware of it, changing your assumptions, requires mental discipline. It demands that you become the watchman at the gate of your mind, carefully monitoring the thoughts and beliefs you allow to take root in your consciousness. This vigilance is a hallmark of mental strength. Now, you might be wondering, how do I change deeply ingrained assumptions and beliefs? The answer lies in the practice of what I call the law of reversibility. This law states that while feelings follow thoughts, thoughts also follow feelings. In other words, by deliberately inducing the feeling state associated with your desire, you can evoke thoughts and assumptions that align with that state. Let me explain this further. Suppose you want to cultivate an assumption of abundance. Instead of trying to force yourself to think abundant thoughts, you would induce the feeling of abundance. You would imagine what it feels like to be abundantly supplied in all areas of your life. As you persist in this feeling, you will find that thoughts of lack and scarcity naturally fall away, replaced by thoughts and assumptions of abundance. This practice of inducing feeling states is a powerful tool for mental strength. It allows you to bypass the resistance of your rational mind and directly influence your subconscious, where your deepest beliefs and assumptions reside. As you master this technique, you will find yourself becoming more adept at shaping your mental state at will. But remember, my friends, mental strength is not about suppressing or denying negative emotions. It is about understanding the transient nature of all emotional states and learning to navigate them skillfully. When challenging emotions arise, acknowledge them, but do not identify with them. See them as passing clouds in the vast sky of your consciousness. This ability to observe your emotions without being consumed by them is a crucial aspect of mental strength. It allows you to maintain your chosen state of consciousness even in the face of adversity. It enables you to respond to life's challenges from a place of clarity and purpose rather than reacting from a place of fear or anger. As you cultivate this observational stance, you will begin to notice the gap between stimulus and response. In this gap lies your power to choose your reaction. This is where true freedom resides. As you become more aware of this gap, you will find yourself becoming less reactive and more responsive to life's events. Now, let us discuss another vital aspect of mental strength: the power of your self-talk. The conversations you have with yourself shape your reality in profound ways. Therefore, to become mentally strong, you must become acutely aware of your inner dialogue and learn to direct it consciously. Many people unconsciously engage in negative self-talk, constantly criticizing themselves and reinforcing limiting beliefs. This negative self-talk is like a poison that corrupts your mental and emotional state. To counteract this, you must learn to speak to yourself with kindness and encouragement. But it's not enough to simply replace negative self-talk with positive affirmations. You must go deeper. You must speak to yourself from the perspective of your ideal self, the version of you that has already achieved what you desire. This is not about deceiving yourself, but about aligning your inner dialogue with your highest vision for yourself. For instance, instead of saying, "I hope I can become more confident," you would say, "I am confident and self-assured in all situations." Instead of saying, "I'll try to be more successful," you would say, "I am successful in all my endeavors." This shift in language might seem subtle, but its effects are profound. It aligns your conscious mind with your subconscious, creating a powerful synergy that propels you towards your goals. Remember, my dear friends, the words you speak to yourself are like seeds planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Choose these words carefully, for they will grow and bear fruit in your experience. This conscious use of language is a hallmark of mental strength. Now let us delve into another crucial aspect of mental strength: the power of focus. Your ability to direct and sustain your attention is a key determinant of your mental state and, consequently, your life experience. In a world filled with distractions, the capacity to focus your mind is more valuable than ever. But what should you focus on? The answer is simple yet profound. Focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. This might seem obvious, but many people spend their mental energy dwelling on their problems, fears, and limitations. They focus on what's wrong in their lives rather than on what they wish to create. Remember, my friends, energy flows where attention goes. Whatever you consistently focus on will expand in your experience. Therefore, to become mentally strong, you must train your mind to dwell on your desired outcomes, on the life you wish to create, on the person you aspire to be. This doesn't mean ignoring problems or challenges when they arise. It means approaching them from a solution-oriented mindset. Instead of fixating on the problem, focus your attention on finding a solution. Ask yourself empowering questions like, how can I turn this situation to my advantage? Or what opportunity for growth does this challenge present? As you cultivate this habit of focused attention, you will find your mental strength growing. You will become less reactive to external circumstances and more proactive in shaping your reality. You will develop a sense of inner calm and certainty that allows you to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and poise. Now, let us discuss another vital aspect of mental strength: the power of persistence. The ability to persist in your chosen course of action despite obstacles and setbacks is a hallmark of a strong mind. It is easy to maintain a positive mental state when things are going well. The true test of mental strength comes when you face adversity. Persistence doesn't mean stubbornly pushing against immovable obstacles. It means maintaining your faith in your vision even when the external evidence seems to contradict it. It means holding fast to your assumption of success even when temporary failures occur. It means continuing to live in the end, to feel the reality of your desire, even when your current circumstances seem far removed from your goal. Remember, my dear friends, that manifestation is not always instantaneous. There's often a time lag between the conception of a desire in your imagination and its appearance in your physical reality. This time lag is a test of your faith and persistence. Those who can maintain their chosen state of consciousness, regardless of external circumstances, are the ones who ultimately succeed in bringing their desires into manifestation. Think of it this way. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't dig it up every day to check its progress. You trust in the natural process of growth. You continue to water and nurture the soil, knowing that in due time the seed will sprout and grow into a plant. The same principle applies to the seeds of your desires, planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Your job is to continue nurturing these seeds through your imagination and feeling. Trust in the law, knowing that what you have planted must inevitably come to fruition. This unwavering faith, this persistent holding to your vision, is a powerful demonstration of mental strength. Now, let us explore another crucial aspect of mental strength: the power of detachment. This might seem paradoxical at first. How can detachment contribute to mental strength? Isn't it important to be passionate and committed to our goals? The truth is, detachment is not about lack of desire or commitment. It's about releasing the anxiety and desperation that often accompany intense wanting. When you are overly attached to a specific outcome, you create resistance. You become tense and fearful, constantly worrying about whether or not your desire will manifest. True mental strength comes from a place of calm certainty. It's the ability to desire something deeply, to work towards it consistently, while simultaneously trusting in the perfect unfolding of events. It's knowing that whether or not a particular desire manifests You are whole and complete as you are. This state of detachment allows you to remain centered and balanced, regardless of external circumstances. It enables you to enjoy the journey rather than fixating solely on the destination. It frees you from the emotional roller coaster of elation and despair that comes with attachment to outcomes. To cultivate this detachment, practice surrendering your desires to your higher self, to the divine within you. After you have done your part, living in the end, feeling the reality of your desire, trust that the infinite intelligence of the universe will bring about the best possible outcome in the best possible way at the best possible time. This surrender is not passive resignation. It is active trust. It is the recognition that while you have the power to shape your reality through your imagination and assumption, the exact manner and timing of manifestation is not always under your conscious control. This balance of active creation and surrender is a hallmark of true mental strength. Now, my dear friends, let us discuss another vital aspect of mental strength, the power of self-discipline. Self-discipline is the ability to control your thoughts, emotions, and actions in service of your higher goals. It is the bridge between your intentions and your results. Many people mistakenly believe that self-discipline is about forcing yourself to do things you don't want to do. But true self-discipline comes from a deep alignment with your highest vision for yourself. When you are clear about what you truly want, when you can feel the reality of your desire, self-discipline becomes natural and effortless. For instance, if you truly embody the state of being a successful and productive person, you will naturally engage in behaviors that support this state. You won't need to force yourself to work hard or to manage your time effectively. These behaviors will flow naturally from your assumed state of being. This is why the practice of living in the end is so powerful. By consistently assuming the state of your wish fulfilled, you naturally align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with that state. This alignment is the essence of self-discipline. However, this doesn't mean that you won't face challenges or moments of weakness. Mental strength is not about never experiencing doubt or fear. It's about how you respond to these experiences when they arise. It's about your ability to return to your chosen state of consciousness, even after temporary lapses. This is where the practice of revision becomes invaluable. If you find yourself slipping into old patterns of thought or behavior, don't berate yourself. Instead, revise the experience of your imagination. See yourself responding in a way that aligns with your highest vision for yourself. Feel the satisfaction and pride of having demonstrated self-discipline and mental strength. As you persist in this practice, you will find your capacity for self-discipline growing. You will become more consistent in your thoughts, emotions, and actions. This consistency is a powerful manifestation of mental strength. Now let us explore another crucial aspect of mental strength, the power of gratitude. Gratitude is not merely a polite social convention. It is a powerful state of consciousness that can transform your entire life experience. When you cultivate an attitude of gratitude, you align yourself with the abundance of the universe. You shift your focus from what you lack to what you already have. This shift in focus changes your entire vibration, making you a magnet for more positive experiences. But gratitude is not just about being thankful for the good things in your life. True mental strength comes from the ability to find something to be grateful for in every situation, even those that appear challenging or unpleasant on the surface. Remember, my friends, every experience, every circumstance contains within it the seed of an equivalent greater benefit. When you can maintain an attitude of gratitude, even in the face of apparent adversity, you demonstrate true mental strength. Moreover, gratitude is a powerful antidote to fear and anxiety. When you focus on what you're grateful for, you cannot simultaneously focus on what you fear. This is why the practice of gratitude is so effective in building mental resilience. I encourage you to make gratitude a daily practice. Each day, take time to reflect on the things you're grateful for. Feel the emotion of gratitude deeply. Let it permeate your entire being. As you do this consistently, you will find your mental state becoming more positive and resilient. Now, let us discuss another vital aspect of mental strength, the power of forgiveness. Many people carry the weight of past hurts and resentments, not realizing how much these negative emotions drain their mental and emotional energy.
Tonight I shall share with you the most profound secret of creation, how to speak blessings upon yourself and instant transform your entire world. So you see, when you truly understand how to bless yourself, you are engaging in the highest form of creation. So you are doing what God does continuously. Consider the first chapter of Genesis, where God speaks blessings upon his creation. Notice how he didn't ask anyone else to bless his work. He blessed it himself. This is the pattern you must follow, for you are that same creative power individualized as you. Let me share with you why blessing yourself is the most powerful act you can perform. First, you must understand that when you speak a blessing upon yourself, you are not engaging in mere positive thinking or affirmations. You are exercising your divine creative power, for you are God individualized as you. Many of you come to me seeking blessings from others, from teachers, from gurus, from religious leaders. But I tell you now, no one can bless you more powerfully than you can bless yourself. For you are the operant power in your world, and your word is the creative power of God in action. When you speak a blessing upon yourself, you are doing what God did in the beginning. Remember the words, and God blessed them. He didn't wait for someone else to bless his creation. He blessed it himself. And you, being made in his image and likeness, must do the same. Let me share with you the proper way to speak blessings upon yourself. First, you must understand that when you say, I bless myself, you are not speaking as a mortal being. You are speaking as God individualized. For your I am is God. And when you speak blessings from your I am, you are speaking with all the power of creation. Consider this: every time you speak a blessing upon yourself, you are literally recreating your world. For your word is God's word, and God's word cannot return void. It must accomplish that which it is sent to do. But and this is crucial, your blessings must be spoken with understanding and feeling. You cannot merely repeat words mechanically and expect results. You must feel the truth of the blessing as you speak it. For feeling is the secret. And without feeling, words are empty. Let me give you a perfect example from Scripture. When Isaac blessed Jacob, he felt the blessing as he spoke it. He wasn't just saying words, he was feeling the reality of what he was declaring. And this is exactly how you must speak blessings upon yourself. Many of you might be thinking, but Neville, isn't it selfish to bless myself? Let me tell you something, it is the most unselfish thing you can do. For when you bless yourself, truly understanding that you are God individualized, you are blessing all of creation. For there is no other. What you see as others is yourself pushed out. Let me share with you how to properly structure your self-blessings. Begin with your I am. For this is the name of God. Then speak your blessing with absolute conviction. For example, I am blessed with perfect health. I am blessed with unlimited abundance. I am blessed with divine wisdom. But remember, these are not mere affirmations. They are acknowledgments of what is already true in consciousness. For when you speak a blessing upon yourself, you are not trying to make something true. You are acknowledging what is already true in the spiritual realm. Consider this principle I have tested and proven countless times. When you bless yourself, you are performing the highest act of creation. For in blessing yourself, you are acknowledging your divine nature, and what you acknowledge must manifest in your experience. Let me share with you the 3 aspects of effective self-blessing. First, there is recognition. When you bless yourself, you must recognize that you speak as God individualized. Not as a mortal being hoping for good, but as the divine creator declaring what is. Second, there is feeling. Your blessings must be accompanied by the feeling of their fulfillment. When you say, I am blessed with perfect health, you must feel the vitality, the strength, the well-being that this blessing implies. For feeling is the secret of creation. Third, there is acceptance. You must accept that your blessing is already fulfilled in consciousness. Not that it will be, not that it might be, but that it is. For consciousness is the only reality, and what you accept in consciousness must externalize itself in your world. Many of you make the mistake of blessing yourself while looking at your current circumstances. But I tell you now, circumstances have no power over your blessings unless you give them that power. Your blessings create circumstances, not the other way around. Let me share with you a profound truth about self-blessing that most of the world has missed. When you bless yourself, you are not asking for something to be given to you. You are acknowledging what is already yours by divine right. For all blessings already exist in consciousness, waiting to be acknowledged and claimed. Consider the words of Scripture before they call. I will answer. This means that every blessing you could ever speak upon yourself already exists in consciousness. Your speaking of the blessing is not creating it. It is acknowledging and claiming what already is. Let me share with you how to maintain the consciousness of your self-blessings throughout your day. Most people speak a blessing and then return to their old patterns of thought. But I tell you now, your blessing must become your constant inner conversation. I think about this carefully. Every time you speak a blessing upon yourself, you are literally rearranging the entire spiritual substance of your universe. For your consciousness is God, and what God blesses must manifest. Let me give you some specific blessings that I have found particularly powerful. First, I am blessed with perfect understanding of my own divine nature. This blessing opens the door to all other blessings, for when you truly understand your divine nature, all things become possible. Second, I am blessed with the constant awareness of my creative power. This blessing keeps you mindful of your true identity as God individualized. For you see, most people forget their divine nature and slip back into mortal thinking. Third, I am blessed with the ability to see past appearances to the truth of being. This blessing helps you maintain your focus on the reality of consciousness rather than the shadows of circumstances. Consider how these blessings work together. Each one strengthens the others, creating a powerful foundation for all your other blessings. For when you truly understand your divine nature, are aware of your creative power, and can see past appearances, you become a master of conscious creation. Many of you may be wondering how often to speak these blessings. Let me tell you something. It's not about frequency, it's about consciousness. One blessing spoken with complete understanding and feeling is worth more than 1,000 spoken mechanically. Let me share with you another principle about self-blessing that most people miss. When you bless yourself, you are not speaking to yourself as a mortal being, you are speaking as God to His creation. For you are both the blesser and the blessed, the creator and the creation. Think about this carefully. When God said, "Let there be light," He didn't doubt whether it was possible. He didn't wonder about the process. He simply declared it and knew it was done. This is exactly how you must speak your blessings upon yourself. Consider the power in this understanding. When you say, "I am blessed," you are speaking with the same authority that created the universe. For your I am is the same I am that spoke all things into being. Let me share with you how to handle doubts when they arise after speaking your blessings, and they will arise. Many of you speak a blessing upon yourself and then immediately begin to question whether it will work. But I tell you now, doubt is simply your former consciousness trying to maintain its position. Consider what happens in nature when you plant a seed. The seed doesn't doubt whether it will become what it is meant to be. It simply begins its transformation according to its nature. Your blessings work the same way. They are spiritual seeds planted in the fertile soil of consciousness. Let me give you a deeper understanding of how this works. When you say, I am blessed with perfect health, for example, you have planted a seed in consciousness. Now, just as a physical seed needs time to sprout and grow, your blessing needs time to externalize itself in your world. But, and this is crucial, While the outer manifestation may take and change in consciousness is immediate when the blessing is properly spoken. For you see, the moment you speak a blessing with understanding and feeling, you have altered the entire spiritual substance of your universe. Many of you may be thinking, but Neville, I've spoken blessings before and nothing changed. Let me tell you something my teacher Abdullah taught me. Nothing changes because you spoke the words. Things change because you became what you declare. Let me share with you another principle about self-blessing that most of the world has missed. When you bless yourself, you are not trying to influence God to give you something. You are exercising your divine power as God individualized. For your consciousness is God and your word is His word. Consider the story of the prodigal son. Notice how the father didn't wait for someone else to bless his returning son. He blessed him himself. This is exactly what you must do. You must be both the father giving the blessing and the son receiving it. This brings me to a deeper truth about self-blessing. When you say I am blessing, you are acknowledging both your divine nature, I am, and your human experience, blessed. You are bringing heaven and earth together in your consciousness. Let me share with you what I call the 7 pillars of self-blessing. These are the foundational principles that must be understood if your blessings are to have their full creative power. The first pillar is recognition. You must recognize that you are the one who blesses. Not your personality, not your mortal self, but your I am. For when you say I am blessed, you are speaking as God individualized, not as a mortal being seeking favors. The second pillar is authority. When you bless yourself, you must speak with complete authority. Consider how God speaks in Scripture, not with doubt, not with hesitation, but with absolute authority. Let there be light. These are words of complete authority. The third pillar is feeling. Your blessings must be accompanied by the feeling of fulfillment. Not the feeling of wanting to be blessed, but the feeling of being blessed. For feeling is the secret, and without the proper feeling, your words lack power. The fourth pillar is present tense. Notice how God never said there will be light. He said, let there be light. Your blessings must be spoken in the present tense, for consciousness knows only now. The fifth pillar is persistence. Not the persistence of mechanical repetition, but the persistence of maintaining the consciousness of being blessed. For your blessing must become your dominant state of consciousness. The sixth pillar is understanding. You must understand that your blessing is not creating something new. It is acknowledging what already exists in consciousness. For all blessings already exist in the spiritual realm, waiting to be claimed. And the seventh pillar is gratitude. When you bless yourself, you must feel grateful not for what will come, but for what already is. For gratitude is the evidence of faith, and faith is the substance of things hoped for. Let me share with you how these 7 pillars work together. When you recognize your true identity as God individualized, speak with divine authority, feel the reality of your blessing, maintain present tense awareness, persist in the consciousness, understand the principle, and feel genuine gratitude, your blessing must manifest. Consider how this differs from what most people do. Most people speak blessings from their mortal consciousness, with doubt in their voice, feeling the lack rather than the fulfillment, thinking of future fulfillment, giving up at the first sign of delay, lacking understanding of the principle, and feeling no gratitude until they see results. Let me share with you what I call the 3 stages of self-blessing manifestation. Most people don't understand these stages, and that's why they often give up before their blessings manifest. The first stage is spiritual. This happens instantly when you speak your blessing with understanding and feeling. In this stage, you have literally rearranged the spiritual substance of your universe. This is the most crucial stage, for it is the only stage where real creation takes place. The second stage is mental. This is where your mind begins to align with your blessing. You start to think differently, see opportunities differently, and respond to life differently. Many people mistake this for mere positive thinking, But I tell you now, it is far more than that. It is your consciousness reorganizing itself according to your blessing. The third stage is physical. This is where your outer world begins to reflect your blessing. Now, here's what's fascinating about these stages. They must occur in this order. You cannot skip the spiritual stage and go straight to the physical. You cannot bypass the mental stage and expect outer results. Consider the words of Scripture, first the blade, then the ear, after that the full corn in the ear. This is describing these three stages. The blade is the spiritual acceptance. The ear is the mental alignment. And the full corn is the physical manifestation. Let me share with you how to recognize when you're in each stage. In the spiritual stage, you feel an inner knowing, a deep peace about your blessing. There might be no outer evidence yet, but you know it is done. In the mental stage, you begin to think thoughts that align with your blessing naturally, without effort. If you've blessed yourself with abundance, for example, you naturally begin to think abundant thoughts. If you've blessed yourself with health, you naturally begin to think healthy thoughts. In the physical stage, your outer world begins to rearrange itself to match your blessing. But, and this is crucial, by the time you reach this stage, you're no longer anxious about it. For you see, you've already experienced the reality of reality in consciousness. Let me give you a deeper understanding of how these stages work together. When you say, I am blessed with perfect health, you instantly create this reality in the spiritual realm. This is stage one. Then your mind begins to align with this new reality. You begin to think like a healthy person, act like a healthy person, make decisions like a healthy person. This is stage two. Finally, your body and circumstances begin to reflect this new reality. But by this time, you're no longer desperate to happen, because you've been living in the Kalpanic conscious, both perfect teachers 1 and 2. Many of you make the mistake of looking for physical evidence before you've allowed the spiritual and mental stages to complete their work. But I tell you now, this is like digging up a seed to see if it's growing. You must allow each stage to unfold in its perfect timing. Let me share with you what I call the 4 states of consciousness in self-blessing. Understanding these states is crucial, for your blessing will manifest according to the state from which you speak it. The first state is the state of desire. This is where most people begin. They speak blessings from a consciousness of wanting, of needing, of lacking. But I tell you now, this state cannot produce results, for it perpetuates the very lack it seeks to overcome. The second state is the state of hope. This is better than desire, but still not powerful enough. When you speak blessings from hope, you are acknowledging that fulfillment is possible, but you haven't yet accepted it as fact in consciousness. The third state is the state of faith. Now we're moving into creative power. When you speak blessings from faith, you are speaking with conviction, with certainty, with knowing. But there's an even higher state. The fourth state is the state of knowing. This is the highest state, the state from which God creates. When you speak blessings from this state, you are speaking as God individualized, knowing that what you declare must manifest. Consider how these states progress. In the state of desire, you say, I want to be blessed. In the state of hope, you say, I might be blessed. In the state of faith, you say, I will be blessed. But in the state of knowing, you simply say, I am blessed. Let me share with you how to move from one state to another. The movement from desire to hope happens naturally as you study and understand the law. The movement from hope to faith happens through testing the law and seeing results. But the movement from faith to knowing, this is the crucial transition. The state of knowing comes when you fully realize your own divine nature. When you understand that you are God individualized, that your consciousness is the only reality, that your word is God's word, then you naturally speak blessings from the state of knowing. Many of you may be wondering how to achieve this state of knowing. Let me tell you something: it's not achieved, it's recognized. It's not something you become, it's something you already are. Your task is to remove the veils that hide this truth from your awareness. Let me share with you what I call the 5 proofs of effective self-blessing. These are the signs that tell you your blessing is taking root in consciousness and must therefore manifest in your world. The first proof is peace. When you've spoken a blessing effectively, you feel a deep peace about it. Not the peace of resignation, but the peace of knowing. For you see, when you truly know something is done in consciousness, all anxiety about it disappears. The second proof is naturalness. Your blessing begins to feel natural to you. You no longer have to convince yourself of it. It becomes as natural as breathing, as natural as your own name. The third proof is indifference to appearances. You find yourself unmoved by contradictory circumstances, not because you're practicing positive thinking, but because you know the reality exists in consciousness, not in appearance. The fourth proof is change inner conversation. Your habitual thoughts and internal dialogue naturally align with your blessing. You don't have to force it. It happens spontaneously because consciousness always produces thoughts that match its state. The fifth proof is inspired action. You find yourself naturally taking actions that align with your blessing, not from effort or planning, but from an inner prompting that feels completely natural. Remember, dear friends, that speaking blessings upon yourself is not an act of egotism. It is an acknowledgement of your divine nature. For you are God individualized, and your word has all the creative power of the universe behind it when spoken from that understanding. Let the truth of this sink deep into your consciousness. You are blessed, not because someone else blessed you, but because you have recognized and claimed your divine inherent through the power of self-blessing. That's the message I want to leave with you tonight. Not because it's comfortable, but because it's true. Not because it's what you expected to hear, but because it's what you needed to hear. Remember, your blessings create your reality when spoken from the consciousness of who you really are. And isn't that worth thinking about?